Okay, we've only got 90 minutes, so we're going to get right into this because I don't have much time to waste. I've got to be off by 7 o'clock p.m. There's no ifs, ands, buts. It will be a hard line of demarcation there. So at 7, I'm disconnecting no matter what's going on. So let's get this going here, guys. First, my unfinished journey before we even started. Wow, thank you. $5. She says, or he says, I'm sorry. I used to think he was a she that for like the longest time. And then he's like, no, I'm not. I'm like, okay. There should be a mandatory sentence of 2 weeks community service for everybody who voted for anyone other than Kyle for dumb fuck of the year. Well, it's always this year, and I think this year there's pretty well shoo-in, but we'll get to that another time. Speaking of DFOTY, Reds will be here soon. Jeshar might show up, and we have the wonderful erudite Glenn.
Pew pew.
Pew, 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 pew. So I know you've already read these. Matter of fact, we read them before we even submitted them because they were so good. And we figured, hey, you know what? A lot of people don't have access to this because they live in 4 countries. And I have been uploading them in a Google Drive, but we'll just put it in a video so people can go over it at the same time. So let's just dive in here. So this was filed on 2/10/2021. This was a status report. So the judge was asking us, hey, has Kyle complied with anything after especially telling him that the court order is in full effect? The judgment has always been in full effect, correct?
Correct.
So during one of the hearings, a status conference type here. Well, no, it wasn't a status conference. Yeah, it was status conference. Judge Gale had actually asked Kyle's lawyer, who has withdrawn since then, he asked her, does your client understand the gravity of the situation? Does he understand that this is in full effect? And she said yes. And the reason why he asked her that is because he cannot no longer come back and say for the criminal and civil contempt hearings that he did not know the ramifications of his actions, right?
Yeah, even if he has what he considers a good reason to not turn over stuff, he still needs to turn over stuff. Like
right.
he's court ordered to do it.
Right. There's no way he can get around that. He can have every great reason in the world. He could be even legally correct, but the court has ordered this, and then you have to do it. That's period. So.
Yep.
So there's no
this
justification.
is a show cause. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So this reads. This is ECF 54. I did put 53 as new the other day. It's not new. It's newer, but it's not one of the newest, so I made a mistake there. Plaintiff Steve McRae, through his undersigned counsel and pursuant to the court's order entered February 2nd, 2001, ECF number 53, hereby submits the following status report concerning defendant's compliance with the partial judgment by default. Hereinafter, the judgment, ECF number 17. Now, that goes back to when? Way back when here.
November 2019, maybe.
January 23rd was ECF 17. January 23rd, 2020, guys. It's been a year that Kyle has been flagrantly ignoring the court order. Yeah. Now, again, this whole title for this video is, what are the odds of basically Kyle's going to go to jail? I want you guys to review the evidence here, then give me your impression afterwards. Give it to me now. What do you give it before? Give me a percentage of what you think the chances over here going
obviously
to jail.
95%. He's not going to comply with this. He'll be arrested, and yeah. I mean, they've got to find him first, but I have no doubt that he will, completely disregard what's happening here and not turn anything over. I think there'll be an arrest warrant issued, and then if they find him, they'll put him in jail until he complies. If there is an arrest warrant issued,
we will find.
Let's say, let's say he doesn't turn up to a scheduled contempt hearing. I think at that point, we will ask the court, and then the court will tell YouTube and all these other companies to turn it over to you rather than getting Kyle to do it. Once he's shown that he doesn't have cause, the court will order it from the companies themselves.
That is correct. However, that is up to us to actually do that, because if we do that, that eliminates one of his purge conditions. And I'm not sure I want to do that, to be honest.
Just leave him in jail to rot for a year or something.
Yeah, because I made it very clear I don't care about the channel as much as him going to jail. Yep. So, if he's going to sit in jail, that's fine with me. That is a win to me, not getting back the channel. Yep. So, I'm gonna just say, because it's hard to put an exact line on it. I'm gonna go by standard deviations. That basically anything greater than 95% or greater, that's my prediction. So any value, it's going to be at least 95% or higher. At least that's my prediction.
Yeah.
That fair?
Yeah, from past experience, he will refuse to comply, and he will end up, arrested in jail. So,
Yes. And also there's also that criminal contempt, which it's going to be pretty much a certainty he's going to get 30 days in jail for, which is not even dependent upon the civil. All right. Let's see here. So, number one, the judgment required the defendant. I want to read this exactly. The judgment required defendant to, quote, return administrative control and primary ownership rights of the NonSequitur Show podcast, YouTube channel, and other accounts associated with the party's business endeavor to the plaintiff. To date, defendant has not turned over control or ownership rights to any of the accounts associated with the NonSequitur Show. As a result, plaintiff has been unable to access, use, or benefit from any of the accounts related to the NonSequitur Show. The judgment further required defendant to, quote, provide plaintiff with all financial documents associated with NonSequitur Show financial affairs and financial conditions within 14 days of the date of order. That was a long time ago. That was back again in, January of 2020. To date, defendant has failed to provide any of the financial documents. Defendant's only production consists of unsupported hearsay summaries and irrelevant manufactured documents attached to his submission on February 4th, 2020, ECF number 18. The court is very well aware that documentation that he provided for the financials is cookbooks. They're very aware of this. Okay. So. And the person who prepared those financials obviously was a very dishonest accountant. Not even accountant. They weren't even a real accountant. That's one of the reasons why it was so bad.
Has access. Is accountant adjacent. We'll say that.
Yes, there you go. Let's see. As set forth in plaintiff's original motion to show cause, ECF number 23, defendant's submission in no way complies with the court order. That motion is incorporated herein by reference. The status of the defendant's willful refusal to comply with the court judgment remains essentially unchanged, and the defendant had now refused to comply for over a year, respectively submitted this day, 10th day of February 2021. This is a very short status report. The too long didn't read. He didn't comply.
Yeah, this was basically to say, yes, he hasn't complied. Yeah, that was what the judge was asking. Can we actually go back to number 53? So the actual order.
We can do this. Going back to 53.
Yeah.
Here's the order. Okay.
Yes, and I just want to read. We'll scroll down to the court orders. So there are 4 court orders.
That is correct.
Yeah. So the first order is, McRae shall file within 10 days of this order status report, and if appropriate, amend his motion to show cause in light of subsequent events. Does anyone have any idea what those subsequent events are?
I do.
And what the judge might be hinting at there.
We'll give him a chance to answer.
Yeah.
We had a couple super chats. Kiwasa 5001, quote, Tastecraft, next episode, cookbooks a la douche. It is funny. I made me remind people, and I have to get back in touch with her, but I actually have the first person that Kyle went to try to be his accountant. She denied that job because he owed her $3,000 on a loan that he never paid back to her.
Yeah.
So, he's been doing this scamming stuff for quite a while, it appears. But she was not going to do his books. And she reviewed the paperwork that he had submitted, the so-called books that he submitted, and she broke them down and said these were completely nonsense. So
right,
I have that breakdown. I just haven't done it. I haven't done a video on it yet.
The court will determine whether to order that Curtis appear to show cause why he should not be held in civil contempt, criminal contempt, or both. So that is the extra little bit
that answers
the judge has added. Yes, that answers the order 1B. Why the judge is asking for this? So in light of subsequent events is obviously the fraud and forgery and perjury. So the judge is basically inviting Steve to ask for criminal contempt. So show cause why you should not be held in criminal contempt as well as civil contempt.
Yes, and make it very clear that the criminal contempt, and we'll get into what that rule he broke was, and it has to do with the interference with the court process. That's what the criminal contempt is.
Yeah.
The criminal contempt is not dependent on whether you commit perjury, forgery, or submission of altered evidence. It's contingent upon did he interfere with the court process.
Yep.
Which clearly this judge will agree that he did. That's what the civil contempt, that's what the criminal contempt is going to be based upon. Number 3.
So the civil judge has the authority to put Kyle in jail under criminal contempt.
Absolutely.
For 30 days.
Yeah. There's some conditions obviously there, but we've already checked. He meets every one of them. This order shall be every one of them. He lied in front of two witnesses, for Pete's sake, during a deposition, two officers of the court. This order shall be posted on the court's electronic docket, shall be mailed by certified mail, return receipt requested to Curtis at the last address identified in his filings with the court. Oh, you mean last known address? Okay. And shall be emailed to Curtis at the email address from which he has corresponded with the court, which was his mom's address from day one. It's kind of strange that we were both accused of being dishonest and trying to purposely have him served at a place he was no longer living, merely so we can get a default judgment. And then it comes to find out that he had never actually moved in the first place. And that whole complete story by him and Union Rock was complete and utter fabrication. There's just no other way to describe it. It wasn't even a lie. It was just complete fabricated scenario. It was worse than a lie. It was beyond a lie. It's forged. Yeah, it's completely fabricated. So. Yeah.
We will get into that, I'm sure, in the next filing.
Yep.
So let's go back to ECF 54 is done, right? So that was just the status update saying that he hasn't complied.
Yeah, and also that if he has change of address, he has to tell the court.
Yeah. So if he doesn't get this filing, that's on him now. Like the proceedings are underway. The service requirements are much more reduced.
Correct.
So,
do you want to do the other motion, or do you want to do the Amazon subpoena? Because we haven't ever shown that to anybody yet.
I think go 55 first. I think just the amended motion.
Okay, so the amended motion. You can read it. You have a wonderful voice.
I can't read. I got asked to do a voice on a video. I won't say by who yet, but I got asked to do a voiceover on a video.
Who are you going to be? Ray Comfort?
Oh, it's in that ballpark of.
Oh, that's awesome! I'm seriously, I'm guessing. I have no idea. I don't know many Australians. So
it's in that topic area.
Y'all sound alike to me, man.
So plaintiff Steve McRae, through his unassigned counsel, blah blah blah, requests that the court order defendant to appear before the court and show cause as to whether he should be held in both civil and criminal contempt. In support hereof, plaintiff relies upon the prior pleadings, affidavits, and transcripts filed in this case, and shows the court as followed. Plaintiff filed his motion for order to show cause on February 12th, 2020. It's February 12th here today. That's a year ago.
Yeah, well, it's 11th year, but we'll go with that. But yes, it is effectively 1 year ago from today that I filed this motion. That's how long it took, the original motion.
Yeah, in that motion, plaintiff asserted that defendant had failed to comply with the court's entry of partial judgment by default. In support of his motion to show cause, plaintiff filed two affidavits, numbers 22 and 25. All the grounds for civil contempt identified by plaintiff in his motion and affidavits continue to exist.
That's a big comment, right?
Basically saying, so he hasn't complied. Plaintiff incorporates ECF number 23 by reference and reasserts his motion for order to show cause why defendant should not be held in civil contempt under North Carolina General Statute 5A21. In addition to the grounds for civil contempt discussed above, defendant's actions since the court's order provide ample grounds for defendant to be held in criminal contempt pursuant to North Carolina Statute 5A11. First, defendant wrongfully used his access to the NonSequitur Show accounts, which he was ordered to surrender, to issue false copyright takedown notices against Mr. McRae.
Did I not let people know that we had not forgotten about that?
Yes, we have not forgotten about
those 4 perjuries. That is still on the table there.
Yep. Second, as described below, defendant intentionally submitted falsified documents to the court in an unsuccessful attempt to convince the court that he had not been properly served in the lawsuit. As set forth in the affidavit of service, defendant was served at his address in Pleasant Garden, North Carolina by certified mail, return receipt requested. In this motion to set aside default judgment and his amended motion to set aside entry of default and partial default judgment, defendant argued that he was not properly served because he no longer resided at the Pleasant Garden address when the summons and complaint were served. Instead, defendant argued that he had moved and his new address was in Charlotte, North Carolina.
Now, I am personally convinced, and I have no way to demonstrate this, is my purely unadulterated, unsupported opinion. Subjective, so I'm not going to give any evidence for it because I don't care whether somebody believes me or not on it. I'm just giving you my autobiographical assessment that, in my opinion, I do believe there's Nate Brody that helped him form that particular line
we can confirm
defense.
That they talked, right?
Yes.
We know that they spoke about this stuff. Okay.
So that is my autobiographical. I'm not. I'm just stating it as my opinion that I think that Nate Brody had helped him come up with that dishonest narrative.
Okay. All right, number 9. July 28th, 2020, defendant submitted an affidavit in support of his amended motion to set aside the court's judgment. Defendant attached 2 fraudulent documents to his affidavit. The first, the affidavit, the Exhibit B to the affidavit purports to be a lease signed by the defendant and Mr. Benjamin Potts. Mr. Potts, however, has submitted an affidavit stating that the signature on the lease is not his. Mr. Potts also testified in his deposition that the signature on the lease was not his. Defendant Carl Curtis testified at his deposition that the copy of the lease was accurate, that he had the original signed lease, as in a paper copy, and that he would produce it. Defendant did not produce the original lease. Defendant submitted a falsified and forged lease to mislead the court.
So let's think about this. So he goes into a deposition that's trying to be a fact-finding mission. Basically, a deposition is a fact-finding mission. Would you agree?
Yes.
Okay, and let me qualify for anybody new to the channel. Neither Ruth or myself are lawyers. We're not pretending to be lawyers. Very minimal legal experience, beyond basic college courses. But we're just giving this from our personal view and our opinions. Let that be known. We're not giving any legal advice. But would you say that a deposition is a fact-finding mission? Yes,
I would.
All right, so
and a bit of cross-examination as well. So.
Yeah. Well, during the cross-examination, you're trying to get to the facts. And now he said during that deposition that he had the original documentation of the contract. Right? Now,
and he said he would produce it.
And he said he was producing it, which is a statement. This is a declarative that he said he was going to do something action-wise to the court that he failed to do. So there's an inference there that the court can actually derive that by him saying that he was going to do something and failing to do something, that he does not have the proper documentation. That was a lie. That he was going to produce something that he didn't do, and that he also submitted a forged copy to the court. So there's a forged copy that he did submit, a non-true copy that he did not submit, and then lied saying that he would submit something that he didn't submit.
Yeah, so the court, under certain circumstances, is allowed to make adverse inferences, and this is one of those occasions. So, as opposed to something like a criminal trial, like if you choose to not testify in your own criminal trial, my understanding is that they're not allowed to make any adverse inferences on that.
Correct.
In this situation, he has volunteered basically, I have this lease, I can produce it, and therefore if he doesn't produce it, the judge can by all means make a very adverse inference that he does not actually have the original lease.
Yep. Now again, that's not always the case. There are certain cases where not testifying you can get you can have a negative inference, but for the remote, like from the military, you have to testify for an UCMJ in some cases, depending on the military tribunal. When it comes to I think there's grand jury, I think that can compel you to testify, and at certain military tribunals they can compel you to testify. So it doesn't always apply, but for the most part, yes, you cannot be forced to incriminate yourself or draw any inference that because you didn't testify whether you're innocent or guilty, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I imagine this is different between Australia and the United States as well. So, there were issues in the court case that I was in for a very long time about whether someone should testify to something, and there's case law, very different case law in Australia as compared to the United States on that. So
yes. Now, but what ironic, you can infer for spoilage. If you delete something, you can infer that had negative connotations to the person who deleted it. The judge can actually instruct, from what I understand, the judge can actually instruct the jury as a sanction to tell them you can infer there's negative information about the person that deleted it, right? So interesting.
So there's a case in Australia called the Jones v. Dunkel rule, and it's all about what inferences the judge can make in Australia, if anyone cares.
Awesome. All right, so let's go to number B.
Where are we? B. Exhibit C purports to be portions of Discover credit card statements for August 2019 and November 2019. Defendant testified at this deposition that Exhibit C was true and accurate. The mailing address printed on those statements is the Charlotte address. However, in response to a subpoena, Discover Financial Services provided actual copies of the statements showing that the actual mailing address was the Pleasant Garden address. Moreover, the subpoena response from Discover showed that the account was not even opened until October 2019 and did not exist in August 2019. Defendant intentionally submitted altered documents to mislead the court.
Now that's pretty damning right there, because what that is actually saying is that he testified that these were true and accurate documents that we had actually demonstrated long before were forged or altered, right? We're both Ruif, myself, Astronomy Live, a bunch of other people, all independently verified, went through the actual code and actually found the same exact edits, independent of each, completely independent of each other, right? I mean, this is what objective facts are.
Yeah, I mean,
I went through that. I went through that code line by line. You went through that code line by line. We found, I think, 18 edits in one. It was like 16.4 total, I think, if I was not mistaken.
Yeah, but you're getting ahead of yourself a little bit. I mean, the original discovery was that the barcode didn't match.
Oh, that's a good point. All right.
Yeah, so that was
explain that to people that may not have been familiar with that.
9th of September. Yeah, so the Discover bank statements have a barcode on them issued by there is a barcode standard that the United States Postal Service puts out that senders of stuff can put on their on the address labels, and that barcode will be read by automatic mail sorters and will go to the correct zip code. So what I did was take that barcode and then decode it using a web page on the Postal Service's website. Figured out that the zip code that it was meant to go to was actually in Pleasant Garden, which is his mother's address, but the written printed address on the address label was Charlotte.
So he had discovered that the IMB had not been altered, but the address didn't match the IMB. So our lawyer had his clerk of the court, or his law clerk, independently verified that the IMB did translate to the Pleasant Grove zip code, and the address was the Charlotte zip code. Now, Red's Rhetoric, and I don't know if you did, but Red's Rhetoric and some other people, I guess, they had called like post offices, and I even called post office, and I said, "Is there any time that the address will not match the IMB?" They're like, "No, there should be never a reason for that." And people on the internet were trying to go, "Oh, well, it's probably the case that it's not updated." No, updated would have absolutely nothing to do with anything.
That was some bullshit narrative that Uni and
showed a fundamental misunderstanding of what the intelligent mail barcode does. And so, yes, the post office was like, "Yeah, that should never have happen." And just having it not updated in the system wouldn't do that. It would actually be caught if there was a mismatch, and you get a yellow sticker on it with the updated information. So there's no reason why there would be. What's that?
It would just go to the wrong place. Like this yes. barcode is what these mail sorting machines use to like automatically route the mail to, wherever it's got to go. So these narratives that Unirock and Menace and all these people spun, complete horseshit. Like that was pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it was flat earth level nonsense.
Yeah.
But they were wrong, obviously, clearly. Shocker to nobody.
Intentionally wrong.
Yeah.
Like just
flagrantly wrong.
Backing their horse. They just had their horse. They backed their horse. Kyle is the.
But it's funny that you had discovered that, because I remember you were on the call with me. It was just you and I were just talking, hanging out, and you were so excited by that. And I'm like, okay, I got to verify this myself, because even I love you to death, I do, but I'm still going to check everything you say, right?
Yeah.
You would not.
I would hope that you would.
Right? Because we don't do this tribalism shit. I know he's usually right because he's smarter than me, but that doesn't mean that he is right. I'm like, I still have to independently check his work. But anybody can go use this barcode, and you can put it in. You can translate it yourself. I mean, it's not difficult.
I remember emailing Scott saying, "Fucking call me, like this is important."
Yeah,
and it was on like the 7th of September or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was because he just had gotten a lawyer too, and it's like. If he had not gotten that lawyer, we probably would have never discovered this, which was just comical.
Yeah, wouldn't have cared. It was just after Ben Potts came on the scene, and he said they were fraudulent, and then I went, well, that means the bank statements have to be fraudulent. How are they fraudulent?
Yeah.
If that had not have happened, we always had our suspicions that, maybe he didn't live there. Maybe we couldn't prove that these are fake. But it wasn't until Ben Potts said, this lease is fake, that I went and actually looked at, how can I possibly show that these are fake?
Exactly what happens.
Thanks, Ben Potts. Thanks, Kyle, for getting a lawyer. And
thank you. Thank
Thank
the people that gave Kyle $6,000 from a fraudulent fundraiser that UniRock promoted to his people, because they gave Kyle $6,000 to get a lawyer to quit on him and to help me out by finding these criminal things. Thank you.
The worst part of that was that it was after the discovery of the barcode / font issue that they re-upped the GoFundMe. That was
hilarious.
Was pretty bad.
Yeah, they underlimit like 1,000. Oh, should I show the docket status?
The docket status, sure.
Didn't I show you that the other day? Was it you I showed about the signing of the lawyer? Oh, maybe it wasn't. Okay, let me show you. Go to docket. Go to case participants, and tell me what it says for.
I've got to log on to freaking.
Okay, I'll do it then. So under attorney, under defendant Kyle Curtis, it says assigned, not.
I have no lawyer.
I have no lawyer. I had people send me $6,000 so I can have a lawyer quit on me, and Stephen can file criminal charges now. Thank you.
Yeah, he has fucked himself so royally.
Oh God! I mean, the irony is and that's not the right word, but it's hilarious. All right, continue on.
Schadenfreude, does that work?
Schadenfreude, yes, that's a good word. It's hilarious, man. Seriously, this guy spent $6,000 to help me out and didn't realize it.
$6,000 to fuck himself so hard. Wow.
And what's worse is you guys can go look at the playlist called Slow Burn of UniRock, where Riff and I were like, okay, let's disseminate this to UniRock little bit by little, spoon feeding him, because this was so objectively the case, and anybody with computer skills could figure this out, and they did. Numerous people in our audience had computer skills figure this out on their own, and he said he had computer skills, and he couldn't figure this out on his own, demonstrating that I don't think he has a shred of computer skills. It was
I haven't
ridiculous.
thought about UniRock for a little while, but holy shit, what a jackass.
Kawasa 5001, LOL. So basically, Uni and Kyle supporters used $6,000 to send him to jail. Thanks. Yep, Kawasa. That is exactly what they did. I am thrilled to death for that. I could not thank these guys enough over there. Okay,
that is exactly what's happened. Where are we up to?
B.
10B.
Yep, 10B.
10B? No, 10B.
9B.
No, 10. We're up to 10. Third, on September 14th, 2020, defendant submitted another affidavit.
No, you skipped 9B.
No.
Exhibit B, C purports to be portions of the discovery statement. You read that one?
Definitely done that one.
Oh, okay.
So 10. Third, on September 14th, 2020.
Yeah, you're right.
Defendant submitted another affidavit in response to affidavits submitted by plaintiff, showing that the lease and credit card statements were fraudulent. So that was basically our affidavit saying, Ben Potts saying the lease is fake, and the law clerk basically replicating what I did with the barcode and the font, showing that the lease and credit card statements were fraudulent. Defendant attached 3 more fraudulent documents to this affidavit.
This gets worse. Got the scummer £2. I think Kyle's GoFundMe is what's known as an own goal.
Yeah, massively.
Yeah, that was self-ownage, to say the least.
Exhibit D to defendant's affidavit purports to be a screenshot of defendant's bank account, showing 2 electronic transfers made using a service called Zelle to Benjamin Potts, purportedly for rent. Defendant testified at his deposition that the screenshot was true and accurate. Do you want to explain why it's important, that line? Defendant testified at his deposition.
Okay, so when you have an affidavit, you're saying this is the case, right? And that's why you have it notarized. So you're saying that there's a true and accurate statement. Now, we all recognize that things can be there's minor errors sometimes in an affidavit, and the court recognizes this. So a minor error doesn't necessitate, a perjury charging like that. You just made a minor mistake in your affidavit. So it happened. But you justify that it's true and accurate to the best of your knowledge, that he said that this is a true and accurate copy of Zelle with full knowledge that it was fake.
Yeah. So it adds a little bit to the perjury charge there. It solidifies the perjury charge.
Yes. There's mens rea there, clearly.
Yeah. Well, I think it probably would have been sufficient anyway.
I do too, but I mean, this judge dots his I's and crosses his T's. Why do you think he said full effect so many times?
Yeah, it's good.
There's a reason for that.
Mr. Potts, on the other hand, testified at his deposition that he never received those payments. Plaintiff then subpoenaed the information from Zelle directly and learned that Zelle was not even affiliated with Discover Bank at the time of the supposed transfers.
Time travel.
And that the transfers were actually made on January 31 and February 5th, 2020, not July 2019 as represented in the exhibits. Defendant manufactured these statements to mislead the court and make it appear as if he had made a rent payment in July 2019.
So let me ask you again. I don't know how many lawyers are going to watch this. I know we have quite a few out there that I do watch. OPT lawyer was busy tonight, but he'll watch us later on. But correct me if I'm wrong. The only way I could actually come up with a scenario where this would be the case is if Kyle invented time travel.
Yeah. So
if Kyle didn't invent time travel, which is highly unlikely, I think the court can infer that he lied.
That's a valid.
I mean, call me crazy there, but I think there's a reasonable inference there. Okay.
Sound inference. Exhibit E to the affidavit is another version of the same falsified Discover statement attached to the prior affidavit. It is fraudulent as set forth in paragraph 9B above. Exhibit A to the affidavit is a screenshot of an order confirmation from Amazon showing a shipment to defendant at the Charlotte address in August 2019. Plaintiff subpoenaed records directly from Amazon to try and confirm the information. The response to the subpoena did not arrive until after the court's deadline for submitting information concerning the motion to set aside. The response from Amazon shows that the account was not created until December 2019, and the order was actually placed on January 1, 2020. A copy of the Amazon response is attached here too as Exhibit 1. The screenshot is fraudulent and submitted by defendant for the purpose of misleading the court.
And let me note here, we did not get that affidavit in time. By having a revised motion, we're now able to introduce the subpoena we got from Amazon, which, by the way, I told people about. I told them that it was inaccurate. That he had lied even before I had the subpoena. I had the evidence. I gave. Did
it not make it into the?
No, it didn't make it in time. Yeah, only the Zelle and the bank statements did. We didn't get the Amazon back in time. Now this allows us to introduce the Amazon as evidence.
I thought it got into one of the sealed depositions.
It's not in there.
Oh, okay. All right, good. Oh, yay. Hey, Carl, here's our Amazon subpoena.
Right, so here's more evidence against you. And I also should note, and again, any legal person, correct me if I'm wrong, but the judge is not required to even determine whether any of this was true or false or fraudulent or not. What the judge is going to determine for the criminal contempt is that did Kyle Curtis interfere with the court process? That's what the charge is going to be. So,
which he did.
I think any judge in their right mind would say yes.
All right. So wherefore, for the reasons set forth above, plaintiff requests that the court find that there is probable cause that the defendant has violated the judgment and order him to show cause as to why he should not be held in civil contempt pursuant to blah, 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 unless and until he complies with the judgment. Plaintiff further requests, and this is the extra bit that the judge has, thrown us a bone for. Plaintiff further requests that the court find that there is probable cause to find the defendant willfully disobeyed, resisted, and interfered with the court's lawful process, orders, directives, and instructions by submitting falsified documents and giving false testimony under oath, and therefore order defendant to show cause as to why he should not be held in criminal contempt pursuant to North Carolina Johnson. Respectfully submitted. This, the 10th day of February, 2021.
Now, in that motion, there was the exhibit for the Amazon subpoena. If you have that handy, I'm going to show it right here. Nobody's actually seen this before. This is the first, unless somebody's been to the website, but we've never done anything on this before. I did say that we were going to subpoena Amazon, which, by the way, Unirock had said that we made these subpoenas up. We weren't actually subpoenaing anything. That, of course, was a lie from Unirock again. I know my audience is really surprised when they hear that Unirock lied. I get that. But, yeah, he lied on that. So yes. sorry to tell you.
Yeah. Unirock is just a worthless human, honestly. Just so full of shit that, not worth bothering about.
Okay, so basically this is what we just asked for the Amazon, the name and address of the Amazon account holder, the contents of the order, the date it was shipped, the date it was received, and to where it went, and whether the screenshot that we gave them is true and accurate. This was their response. This was one of the screenshots we sent them. Oh, this is what they replied.
I can't see your screen, by the way. I have to watch the...
You're going to have to watch the outside. Yeah, let me rotate this clockwise. All right, so Kyle Curtis, the account creation date was on 12/25/2019. What he had submitted to the court was August 8th. Then he ordered it August 8th, 2019, which, again, correct me if I'm wrong, but if you claim that you ordered something on August 8th, 2019, but the account didn't even exist until December 25, 2019, you're probably lying?
Pew, 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 pew.
Okay. I want to make sure on that. And by the way, I did tell people that the purchase date was January 1st, 2020. I was correct on that. Go figure. And I did tell people at one time what that was for. And then Ben and I were kind of joking about it. So, because I was like, do you care? He's like, no, I don't care. But it was for Pop Rocks. He said they were never used. Thank God. They're probably stale anyways. I read the reviews. They didn't seem that good, dude. But they went to, Ben's address, which we knew, right? We did know that they went to Ben, but the fact that account didn't exist at the time, and he had actually forged the date to backdate the order, that's where the deception comes in, right? We never said it didn't go to Ben's house. We agreed, but we also said even if Amazon goes to Ben's house, it does no evidence you were living there. This means you sent him something.
Silly boy.
Yeah, I send things to people all the time. Doesn't mean I'm living with them. And then the purchase that was $7.
I didn't know that there was some oral sex reference with Pop Rocks until that day. By the way.
Oh, you need idea. You need to hang around with me more then. Yeah, Cheshire could have told you all about oral sex. Oh wait, there she just popped in. Sorry. Hi, Chesh. Why is it that he's talking about oral sex and you show up?
I'm
not judging. Just
obviously,
asking.
I need to be there.
Yeah.
I mean, I obviously need to be around for that conversation. I mean, that's just a given.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't I be here when he starts talking about oral sex?
See, when I grew up, when we had Pop Rocks, that wasn't even on my mind. We were told that if you ate Pop Rocks and soda, your stomach would burst.
Pop Rocks, yeah, Pop Rocks and Coke.
Yeah, is that kind of a twist on the whole Diet Coke and Mentos thing?
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, the rumor back then was it Mikey from that commercial Life? You know, Mikey likes it. He died supposedly from eating Pop Rocks and Coke or something, which didn't happen.
There's a skit called it's all about like things like Pop Rocks and Coke, and like there's a kid in B7 and he drank Pop Rocks and a Coke, and the doctor was like, oh shit, and they just run in, but by the time they get there, they just get to the door and he's like, and his stomach explodes. There's a kid who's got hairy palms. He's talking to the doctor. There's a doctor, there's been a train crash. There was a penny on the rails, like stuff like that.
Oh, I remember that too. Yeah, don't put a penny on the rail. You're the way to the train. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the. We're going to do the summary for joint motion. According to, from what I understand, North Carolina state law, when you do a new motion, you also, in addition to it, have to file a brief in support of the motion. In this case, it's an amended motion, but Cajun castration for $5. Vegetita. What does the scooter say about Kyle's screwed level? It's over 9,000.
That says Vegeta, Steve.
Vegeta, vagina. What? I don't know. I make up words as I go along. And I heard that was just a number they picked up because it sounded large. Is that true?
I don't know.
Yeah.
This is like anime shit, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
With the memes.
That's impossible.
This is a Dragon Ball Z meme from like 1992.
Yeah.
All right, so here we go. And this is going to be ECF 56. Plaintiff Steve McRae, through his undersigned counsel and pursuant to BCR 7.2, submits this brief in support of motion for order to show cause, requesting that the court order defendant to appear before the court and show as to whether he should be held in civil contempt for failure to comply with this court order, with this court entry of partial default judgment.
Reds of the Rhetoric has joined.
Civil contempt. As stated in the amended motion, all grounds for civil contempt identified by plaintiff in his original motion for order to show cause continue to exist. Plaintiff incorporates by reference the brief and summary of his original motion, ECF number 24. So that's all we need to do on that. We just need to say, look, he hasn't complied. Shocker to no one, I'm assuming, right? Reds, are you shocked that he didn't comply?
I'm so surprised.
I saw your shock face earlier, and I'm still reeling from the ugliness. But after I got over that, I realized you were expressing you were shocked, Reds.
Oh, this is the part where I pretend to be shocked. Okay, hang on 1 second. Oh my God.
He fakes things so well, doesn't he? He almost had me. I believed him for a second. Criminal contempt. Here's where it gets good. Now, we already had the motion for the civil contempt. The judge was opening up the door for us to allow for criminal contempt, which, again, is nothing to do with the DA charges that will probably be eventually filed. The criminal contempt is merely on, did he have some kind of interference with the court process? Super chats real quick. Little Miss Betty Page, a.k.a. Tank Girl Junkie. How are you, Betty Page? 2 pounds, she says. Quote, Pop Rocks and Coke, a great name for Kyle memoirs. That actually is pretty good, actually. Yeah. That's funny, actually. A lot of meta there. Wrote it, no last name, $5. Jail could be considered a win for Kyle. No rent, free food, and all the man on action he can handle.
No comment on.
No comment. Atheist Miracle, $5. Uni said there was no evidence that Kyle stole. Why did you take over you to discover this? What are you going to win? Money, congrats. Yeah. That's a whole bunch of things. Yeah. Uni says a lot of things that ends up not being the case. Again, Reds, can you do the shock voice again?
Oh my God.
There you go. I mean,
this is so surprising.
That's
holy shit.
That's Reds being shocked there, guys.
They're eating her, and then they're gonna eat me.
No!
Oh my God.
Trolls 2 or 3?
Hey?
What was that? Was that Trolls 2 or 3?
I think it's number 2.
Criminal contempt. Since plaintiff filed his original motion for order to show cause, defendant has purposely and willfully filed multiple fraudulent documents in an attempt to have his default set aside. Pursuant to North Carolina General Statute 5A11(3), a defendant is subject to criminal contempt for, quote, willful disobedience of, resistance to, or interference with a court's lawful process, order, directive, or instruction, or its execution. Criminal contempt is administered as punishment for acts already committed that have impeded the administration of justice in some way. And then Hodges versus Hodges.
Pause for 1 second.
Yes,
so
sir.
Ash Scott has asked in the chat, didn't Kyle's mum submit an affidavit saying Kyle didn't live there? What happened with that? They should ask him if he needs to charge her for that or if he maybe faked it. I don't think Susan Curtis's affidavit is faked. I will give her the benefit of the doubt that she believed Kyle had actually moved. So we ended up getting a pretty good timeline from Ben as to how much time Kyle spent at Ben's place. It was well under half the time, but it could be very easily conceivable.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat.
Say,
I could easily see him manipulating his mom to say, look, I lived at both places. Therefore, I might be staying here every so often, but I'm also living with Ben. And for her to actually take that and have a belief about it, right? So I don't think there was any. When it comes to these things, it also has to do with intent, right? And my lawyer, or our lawyer, and us, we all agreed. We had a little meeting on this, and we all agreed there's no reason to go after his mom, because if there's no intent by his mom to deceive, what's the point?
Yeah.
Well, that opens a whole new can of worms that you would probably have a lot more trouble. Like you'd be essentially trying to prove collusion.
Yeah, there's no reason to.
Like,
I'm not interested in going after his mom. I mean, his mom didn't do anything to us, and so I'm willing to give principle of charity that she honestly believed this, and not think it was fraudulent. It would be too much effort and not any gain to go after her, I think.
Yeah, same. I got no issue with Kyle's mother.
Yeah. I continue on.
Yeah.
You want to read? Here's the evidence.
I read the whole other one, 55, whatever. You go.
What? Where?
We are at the. So we've just done.
Yeah.
Criminal contempt is administered as punishment for acts already committed that have impeded the administration of justice in some way. Here, the evidence shows that defendant submitted forged and falsified documents to the court for the specific purpose of misleading the court concerning his residence on the date of service. Defendant's actions were willful, interfered with the court's lawful process, and impeded the administration of justice. Defendant should be held in criminal contempt for his actions.
Now, in North Carolina, the longest you can be in criminal contempt is 30 days, from what I understand. 30 days is still 30 days, and that has nothing to do with the civil contempt. It has nothing to do with the criminal prosecution of the crimes. And so those are all completely separate and unrelated. So he could go for criminal contempt for 30 days after he serves a civil charge for failure to comply until he has the purge remedy, or vice versa. They could do the criminal first and the civil. I don't know how the judge would want it. I don't think he would run a concurrent because that would make no sense. Because
I think it'd be
consecutive. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he'll go to actual prison for all the crimes.
Yeah, then it's going to be turned over to the DA eventually. I mean, we've already established it. Even if we had to do it ourselves, we would go to the DA, but the judge will do that for us, I'm pretty sure. All right.
Yeah, I think as well. Wherefore, for the reasons set forth in plaintiff's original motion for the order to show cause and the brief in support, and in plaintiff's amended motion for order to show cause filed contemporaneously herewith, that's some lawyer speak, plaintiff requests that the court find that there is probable cause the defendant has violated the judgment and order him to show cause as to why he should not be held in civil contempt unless and until he complies with the judgment. Plaintiff further requests that the court there is probable cause. Yeah, there's a little typo there. Plaintiff further requests that the court there is probable cause to hold defendant in criminal contempt for impeding the administration of justice and order him to show cause as to why he should not be held in criminal contempt. Respectfully submitted this the 10th day of February, 2021. Boom.
So, yeah, that's where we're at. Now the downside is that it does obviously trigger a response from Kyle. He gets 10 days to respond. But that's okay. I mean, whatever.
He's not going to respond.
Right. Well, what is he going to respond? I mean, yeah, I would love that he did, but because of just
he's going to respond with, "What do you mean? I totally submitted it. Didn't you see my spreadsheet?"
Yeah. I gave him fake passwords, but I gave them to Nate Brody to give to Steve in a $50 super chat. There you go. Yes. It's funny because I've been so straightforward with everybody, and now that everybody realizes I have been 100% right down the line, I have also been giving Kyle good advice, and the fact that he hasn't listened to me is even better, right? Because I will tell people, I don't care. I will tell people straight out. Kyle literally could avoid the civil contempt by just having the purge condition met. That's it. That's all he has to do. That is the law. Any lawyer would tell him this. So it's not like I'm giving him really any help. Any lawyer that's giving him good advice isn't just using him for the lulz or to try and do harm through harassment.
Yeah, we're not saying we're putting Kyle in jail for the civil contempt. He is going to do it himself. Yeah, exactly. Right. So I'm happy to admit now. Now the criminal charge, contempt, that's up to the court. But of course, if he complied, it would make a huge difference there, I think. But he's not going to comply either way. So I think regardless, if he complies or not, the criminal contempt would probably still stand. He's going to get 30 days regardless. But the civil contempt, he certainly can get out of. And that's going to be a lot longer than the criminal based contempt. On past experience, he will not show up for the show cause.
Right.
Kyle has an established history of doing the ass backwards approach to whatever the fuck is set in front of him.
And I've relied on that. I have literally relied on that because we know him so well. Because he's made that very clear that he does that. And so we go by that. That's just normative.
Oh, my God.
Sorry, someone else. Justin Franks in the chat. Referring to Kyle's mother. Obviously, Kyle was willing to submit fraudulent documents, so why not one more purporting to be from his mother? The reason that's not the case is that in order to actually swear to the affidavit, she had to be in a video conference with the lawyer. All right, so she's actually swearing to the affidavit.
And hers was actually notarized at one point.
Yeah.
So we have no doubt that was her.
Yeah.
I also find it pointless to go after her.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing to be gained by it. I want justice with Kyle, but I'm not going to use family members like some dishonest lawyers and other people do around here. So I have no intention to involve his family members, except well, there might be some things later on, but it has nothing to do with us. So.
I'm actually confused as to what that's referring to.
I don't know. Housing a criminal, aiding, abetting. I don't know.
Yep. Sorry, I got you.
Okay,
you're right.
Something along those lines.
Yeah.
Don't really need to go into that right now, but just saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you give Kyle a way out, he will do everything in his power to avoid that for whatever fucking reason. It makes no sense to you and me, but Kyle will do what Kyle does, which is fuck himself.
Well, it does make sense from his point of view, right? I mean, Cheshire and I, and I'm pretty sure you do, we love consistency. And I like the fact that Kyle's consistent, right? He is a narcissist, and
consistently doesn't show up to court.
Right. Narcissists do things that are predictable, right? Very predictable. And so we predict he's not going to show up to court. We predict that he's not going to comply. Yeah, that's fine.
I predict he's going to end up behind bars.
Like I said, it's 95% or greater chance.
What's the market on him actually evading arrest? Like, I assume that's what's going to happen.
Less than 5%. Either equal to or less than 5%. I don't. Again, he has three things that he would have to avoid. He would have to avoid civil contempt. And the judge, I think it's pretty well clear that the judge is going to find him in civil contempt if he doesn't follow the orders. He told him that. So we have to go by the wording of the judge. And the judge has said, look, I'm paraphrasing, but he's basically implying or saying that I'm going to put you in civil contempt if you don't comply. I think that's a fair assumption, right? Yeah.
So that's what a show cause hearing is. It's like, show us why you haven't complied.
Yeah.
And he has no reason.
Well, actually, he's already said there's reasons. The judge has already agreed there's reasons to have a show cause hearing.
Can I share a picture of what it's going to look like when Kyle tries to dodge a warrant?
Go ahead.
This is what it's going to look.
You have my permission, Chesh.
This is going to be the cover of the Dog the Bounty Hunter episode in question.
That's going to be my face.
The shock face. All right.
Shock face.
I love
this episode of Dog the Bounty Hunter. Some fuckface stole a YouTube channel and now he's on the run.
I've discovered that I identify very heavily with possums.
I like possums. They're cute. Yeah.
So William Sears is asked in the chat.
Happy birthday to me.
Question in the chat: when is the next court date? From my understanding, because we've amended our motion, I think Kyle gets
10 days.
How long does he get to respond? 10 days.
I think it's either 10 days or 15. I don't remember for a reason.
Okay, however long it is. It's
we're going to go with somewhere around 2 weeks, basically.
But keep in mind, we all know that Kyle is not going to respond.
Right.
Yeah, I know. So as soon as he doesn't respond, whenever that 10 days expires, the judge will then schedule a show cause hearing date. So the whole reason this thing's been delayed again is because the court put in some conditions around COVID-19, such that there are no in-person hearings. Those conditions expired, was it middle of January or something? So now that they can actually have contempt hearings and show cause hearings, they'll be scheduled. Yeah, and he will have to be there in person.
That's what the judge told his lawyer too. He said the judge had told Skyly Forbes, your client, I want to see him in person because you need to tell him he probably won't be going home that night.
Yes. We weren't believed on that line either.
No, I know. It's like Steve's a lying poopy head. If you guys, what's so funny is if anybody, when they do a documentary on this, which I know a few people that want to, when they go back and look at all the evidence and all the videos and everything that I've said, it all falls into place.
Yeah. If he does not comply, if he shows up to the show cause hearing and does not comply, he will not go home that day.
Right. So, yeah. Now, what's funny is, this is again my personal opinion, but I honestly don't see a way how he could get out of the purge condition by being in court. I mean, first of all, he'd have to do it beforehand, right? He's not going to be able to do it during court because it's just a lot of things he has to turn over. I believe he doesn't even know what he has to turn over. Therefore, if he doesn't know what he has to turn over or doesn't understand what he has to turn over, he's in contempt. And until he figures out what he needs to turn over, because he had a lawyer that could have explained it to him, he's just going to rot in jail.
Didn't hang on, didn't SFL back when she was still Kyle's lawyer, didn't she say over and over again that my client understands this, my client understands
Yes.
that, my client understands this? So he can't claim ignorance at this point, right?
No,
well,
no, he
she
cannot.
okay, but she was talking about
He
different
couldn't
things.
anyway.
She
Couldn't
was saying
anyway.
that she was saying my client understands the ramifications of one lying under oath because she had asked him during the deposition, do you understand, the significance of lying under oath? You have a criminal background. He's like, yeah, why would I lie under oath? I don't want to go back to jail. I mean, that's what he said, paraphrase, right?
Yeah, but they also, during the talk with just the two lawyers and the judge, he asked her if her client understood about he's not coming home,
yes,
or he's not going to go home. He understands the ramifications of if he doesn't turn everything over. So like that.
Yeah, he understands.
That contains knowing that he needs to turn everything over.
I would infer that,
and
yes.
thus would contain. So the only way he would be able to make this argument that he didn't know, like try and claim this ignorance, is only going to be to some dumbass who's going to listen to him. That's not going to fly in the court.
Yeah, let me clarify that, because I think we're talking about two different things. I agree with you wholeheartedly that I would infer as the court he understands. I do not think he mentally understands. I don't think in his mind he understands what he needs to do.
Steve and I think differ on what he is required to turn over and how much he has to turn over
you're wrong.
to satisfy the thing.
What do we differ on?
We'll fight about that later.
Wait, what do we differ on?
As to how much he actually has to turn over.
Yeah, I think he has to turn over a lot more than I think you do, right?
I think less.
Do you think though it's honest stupidity? Do you think though it's honest stupidity, or is it just intellectual dishonesty?
So you have this trouble in that question right there. You just asked honest from Kyle.
Good point. That's a very good point. Solid.
And instead of I don't want to go over the things that we disagree on, because I don't want Kyle to even know what he has to turn over.
Yeah, no.
Right. But how about? But I think there's no big deal by saying what we both agree on that's out there already. We do all agree. I think he has to turn over the channel and the books.
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
Okay. So those two are at least the minimum.
And no, fake passwords don't count. Just saying.
Yeah.
So that is the newer filings out there, people. And I do welcome anybody to ask us questions now, later, whenever. Like I said, I do have some big YouTubers out there with very large channels that are going to be doing videos on the story eventually. I've already talked to many of them. They're just basically waiting, from what I understand, for Kyle to actually go to prison. That could be the climax of the story kind of thing. So
yeah, I like the what was his name? The Tiger King. What was his name? Tiger King dude. Apparently, he had on the day of. I forget his fucking name. Anyway, on the day of inauguration for Biden, so in the hours left that Trump had to give pardons, apparently there was a stretch limo waiting outside of Tiger King's jail to take him home when Trump pardoned him.
Oh yeah, I saw that story.
So exotic.
It's Joseph Allen.
Joe Exotic.
Wow. Yeah,
Joe Exotic, but his last name is some weird fucking
two husbands' last names. There we go. Joseph Allen Maldonado Passage. So Maldonado and Passage were two of his husbands. Where is he? Oh, holy shit. Yeah, that was nuts. Anyway, still in jail, obviously. Joseph Schreibvogel apparently is his name.
That's how the fuck you pronounce that shit? My God.
It's fucking German, right? So I know that was hectic. Anyway. So we're done? What's our takeaway from these filings from our lawyer, Steve?
I already told you my takeaway. I'll say it again. Kyle has an established history of doing everything ass backwards, so just you wait and see. He's going to be ass backwards with this shit as well. He's going to fuck himself, and he's going to end up behind bars.
Yeah. I think that's a done deal anyway. He's going to go to prison. I don't think there's any way around that. As in terms of jail for contempt, I'm pretty certain he'll go to jail for criminal contempt. And given that he has a history of not showing up, I think he will not show up and then be arrested for the civil contempt as well. And yeah, That'd be funny.
And all over a YouTube channel in a pissing
know.
contest with Steve
One that he
McRae.
claimed he didn't give a shit about.
The channel that
I
doesn't
don't
care
give
about
a shit
you.
about the YouTube channel. Then why the fuck are you willing to go to jail over it, you piece of shit?
And why didn't you continue? And why didn't you continue your other projects that had nothing to do with non-sec with KC? What a shame. What a shame that was. I'm my takeaway from this is like I'm still holding out for that ticket to Mexico.
Yeah.
How would he afford to
Still
go
holding
to
out.
Yeah, I don't think
I got
he
diamond
was.
hands on that shit.
Like seriously, all over a pissing contest with Steve McRae.
Yeah,
Wow.
I mean it's kind of strange. I mean the degree how much narcissism do you have to not only fail to obey a court order, but actively send fraudulent information, forgeries, perjury, under oath, criminal wise, just to try to think that you're harming somebody. How big of a shitbag do you have to be for that?
Listen, Steve. No offense here. No offense.
How big of a shitbag do you have to be to support that person? And then when the victim starts getting the turnaround, you still continue to support them, or never tell the victim, whether it includes Steve or the rest of the non-sequitur show fans, they can all just go fuck themselves.
I mean, no offense, Steve, but actually, no, I take that back. Fuck you, Steve. You're not worth it. You are not worth jail.
I am
Fuck
worth you going to jail for a few years. Start lying to people. Why don't you lying?
Fuck you.
I mean, this comes back to like Unirock's thing, right? Unirock's whole shebang. He's going after like so many people that aren't even remotely related to the community, and his whole shtick is that he's mad that Steve wouldn't lie for him. That was what he is mad at.
Yep.
Also says in the chat he can't go to Mexico because of COVID, and I'm just thinking, COVID has actually fucked Kyle pretty badly because it gave him time to do the fucking false DMCAs, that sort of shit. What's happening now is that people are getting vaccinated, and now he will actually go to prison because the jails will now be not a dangerous place to go.
It screwed him like 7 ways to Sunday, particularly that it emboldened him because it froze the court. And so he felt emboldened by not getting any consequences, so he thought he could get away with some nonsense and got to listening to some people that had enough time to convince him that he could get away with some nonsense.
Yeah, I guarantee that he thought COVID was helping him, but it has absolutely fucked him hard. So...
Well, we all know that was Steve's idea. Steve's the one who Kyle caused COVID, right? That was...
Yeah, Steve's been the puppet master from the start.
I have more ontological powers than I realize.
Yeah.
Steve
I'm going to need...
obviously.
Hey, Steve, if you can send me a DM real quick. I need the winning lottery numbers. That'd be great.
Hey, he's in the future. He's in Australia. He's like a day ahead of us. He should be able to give him, right?
What was it, 12 months to the day since the...
Ruhif, cough up the 12 winning numbers, my guy.
Oh, apparently we've got like some massive fucking lottery here on Saturday, 30 mil or something.
You realize that like if you spit out 12 numbers right now, somebody would do it and somebody would win.
Yes. Oh, gold. All right.
So let's kind of wrap it up. Let's ask the audience here. Okay, so give us your final numbers here. And again, I understand there's no higher line of demarcation. Just given a rough estimate.
Hang on. Before we go, I have to bring up Menace to Sobriety's tweet from last week.
Why do you want to cause us pain?
Hang on.
Oh my God, are you pulling up an old one or a new one?
Oh, fuck, where is it?
No, he's a sadist. He wants to make all of us suffer.
It was something about, Kyle wins because Steve now gets a judgment of 90 grand. He'll never see a cent, but now he's got to pay tax on it. I'm like,
I know.
I'm going to get tax advice from Menace to Sobriety. There you go, man. That's brilliant.
I think I retweeted it. Hold on.
Remember, Menace to Sobriety was the one that said he was in a Discord server with Kyle and his lawyer and watched Kyle in real time log into his Discovery account and show that the Discovery things that he had submitted were not fake. He had actually said
Yeah,
this.
that
he
turned out to
witnessed
be
this though.
that,
So how?
that turned out to be colossal horseshit. That turned out to be colossal horseshit.
Are you literally? Wait, hang on. Are you saying that Minister Brady lied, Reds?
What? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, shock voice.
Yeah, he lied.
What?
He fucking lied. Yes, absolutely. He fucking lied.
I can't believe this. This is my shock voice. I mean, how is this
he made an assertion that he was in a Discord call with Kyle and saw him actively log into the fucking Discover statements that didn't fucking exist. Yeah, he lied. That was colossal horseshit.
Anyway, I found the tweet and it says, or let Steve get his requested treble of 30K, which is 90K, and have to pay taxes on the additional 60K without actually receiving the dollars because North Carolina is a judgment-proof state. Rolling on the floor laughing. What a fucking moron. Actually, first of all, North Carolina is not a judgment-proof state. All right? You just can't garnish wages there.
Yeah, but
that's
they have workarounds out. There are other ways to get money. They don't seem to understand that. I don't have to garnish to get money. As long as he has an income, I can tap that. Trust me.
Yeah, all these people saying, "Oh, Kyle should just declare bankruptcy, blah blah blah, and get out this debt."
You can't. He can't.
It's a non-dischargeable debt.
Right.
He can't get out
because
of
he committed. There's two things. There's a couple things that make things non-dischargeable debt for bankruptcies. He has done two of them actually. Two out of the many things. So two.
Steve, you're already going too far. They're not they're already not listening. Two, they're not gonna understand what you're saying anyway. And three, they're going to lie and ignore you.
Oh,
either
of course.
way.
Yeah, well, that's to be expected, right? But I mean,
okay, just want to be
for
clear.
those for those who are not in the back of the stadium here, when you commit fraud and you have what's called breach of fiduciary duty, those two are non-dischargeable bankruptcy debts. And so even if you claim bankruptcy, when you do a bankruptcy, I had one in 2005, which I had people do a background check on me to try to find, even though when I first came to YouTube, I was very open about my history and my background. They're like, oh my God, Steve, I did an investigation on Steve and he had bankruptcy. And people are like, yeah, no shit. Go watch his older videos. He's talked about it before.
I kind of hope Menace never goes away because he's become the new Keon.
I don't see the difference. Yeah, but I mean,
that's what I mean.
When you do a bankruptcy, you have to like put everything down and all your assets and debts and everything else. And if he fails to disclose anything like that, that becomes a federal crime. That's bankruptcy fraud. So I mean, I personally, I don't put anything past Kyle. I think he has this right now is just a slippery slope into probably a lifetime in jail.
If he does file bankruptcy, he has to actually give us a copy of his bankruptcy filing.
Yes.
Do you think it's also likely or possible that if and when this goes to the DA ends up looking into his taxes for the past couple of years?
I think they will, yes.
Yeah, I think so. The reason being,
this money is straight. They're going to have to find out where that money went as part
Yeah.
of the investigation, and finding that out. If he hasn't paid taxes or has evaded taxes by saying he paid you money on his tax forms.
Yeah,
if he did
I totally agree with that. And I also would probably say, though, because I do think for him to get out of the civil contempt, to meet the purge condition, because he has to turn over the books, part of those books requirements would be his own financial records. And we can see the taxes then. If he doesn't turn over his taxes, and by the way, he did say in his deposition he would turn over his tax return.
Oh, let me guess. That didn't fucking happen.
Oh, wait, what? He lied?
He
shocking
said like
voice.
the next day.
Yeah,
too,
yeah.
so-
Basically, he spewed that one thing. What was it? What was it that he spewed again? Oh yeah, that's right. Colossal horse shit.
Mom
Just
spaghetti.
like sobriety.
Yeah. So I think
They
that'll be charges as well.
Colossal horse shit.
Macabre,
So
$5
what did the oh sorry,
That's cool.
he can go first. I'll ask my question and then it can get.
Oh, access Manya first.
Because I just wanted, what's the consequences for that? Like, I guess it depends on what happened. If it's straight up just tax evasion, I guess that's a whole nother charge.
Yeah,
right?
I honestly,
I don't know what the consequences to that would be.
Let's look up the jail term for tax evasion.
I couldn't even venture a guess what happened there. Like I said, this is all slippery slope. I think that this is just a ripple effect that I think is going to be catastrophic to Kyle.
There is no way Kyle paid taxes on the money, right?
I have no idea. No, I think he might have.
I don't have any idea.
Yeah,
I
hope everybody who helped him along the way from the very beginning all the way up till now all go fuck themselves.
Golden Unicorn, New Zealand 5. Hi, Golden Unicorn. Didn't Menace to Sobriety make up a story of Steve organizing an attack on Kyle for all laughs? Yes, they had said that for some reason I had driven, I guess, to North Carolina to go shoot at his residency, or I hired somebody to do it. I think they had accused Todd, if I'm not mistaken, at one time.
Yeah, it was Todd.
And
I think they also accused Joey.
And it could be. It could be accused Joey. Come to find out, Kyle never moved. That story was completely fabricated. There was no police report.
I don't understand. And if that, I don't understand that story. Like, why completely make up out of whole cloth a random story that has zero truth to it? Like, I would have thought, if he's going to make something up, make it up in Charlotte. But something actually happened in Pleasant
I
Cover.
thought it was Kyle that made it up. I thought Kyle said his house was shot up, and then Menace made up for lulz that it was Steve. So Kyle lied about his house being
initially
shot.
it wasn't Kyle
that
that
came
said
out
that.
of nowhere.
Yeah.
Like, it was just a random story made up. Like, what was the purpose of that? I don't get it.
Was that at the same time he was doing the GoFundMe for his lawyer? So it was maybe to garner some sympathy.
I think along the lines of, because again, I have a hard time thinking people just pull shit out of their ass. I think maybe he was sitting at his mom's house. He heard a car backfired, thought he might be being shot at, and then all of a sudden that became a story. I at least go with something like that.
He's gotten that paranoid.
Well, I mean, you hear a car backfiring, you can mistake it for a gunfire if you don't know the difference.
You know what can mess with your mental state? Drugs.
That is a true story. Just saying, throwing it out there. Macabre for $5, Australian, says, so while I've been watching this, the Vic governor has announced Victorian government has announced that my state is going back into lockdown. FML. Really? I thought Victorian government was doing well. 4. I thought they started getting out of that.
5-day lockdown, stage 4. See, we don't fuck around with lockdowns here, right? Like, we have 5 cases and we go lockdown.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what is it? Did you get one case there or something? Because I know New Zealand and Queensland and Victoria and all these other places out there, they get one case and the whole city fucking shuts down.
Yeah, and we had a mask mandate for a couple of weeks, and no one did the fucking you're impinging on my equivalent First Amendment rights or blah blah.
We were on high lockdown that just started coming down now in my area.
By the way, Todd did say yep. So yeah, it was Todd. It's weird when you're telling the truth how much consilience there actually is, right? I mean, it's bizarre. And when you lie and you get caught, you end up going to jail.
These people just block and just flip the hell out if you ask them one single question. And so you ask them one question and they just spaz right the hell out. It's a joke. They're a joke.
Well, and it's so funny because
we're laughing at you.
People were going around saying, Steve had Kyle purposely served improperly and the service was improper. Where are all those people now? Not that the judge had said no, service wasn't.
I don't know. I heard one of them owed Red's money on a bet.
A couple $1,000s, I believe, that he welched on. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm never gonna see a fucking penny.
So super chat. Godless Scummer £5. The quote: "Who shot Kyle? Mystery is Uni's greatest LARP yet."
Speaking of the chat, any questions in the chat? Tag, Steve or me or Reds or Chesh or whatever.
Hang on. Well says they said they were going to produce shell casings.
Yes,
that didn't happen either. Wait, they actually said that they were going to produce shell casings.
Kyle at one time said he found one shell case, if I'm not mistaken.
That they never produced.
That he never produced. Yeah.
Yeah. And they also lied about some police reports.
Yeah, but you guys noticed
they said they were going to produce a police report. They said they were going to produce shell casings, and
Kyle
none of
said
that
he was
shit
going
happened.
to produce his Discover statements.
All the
Discover statements.
Good point. He said he was going to contact Discover, the engineers at Discover. That's right.
Yeah, and they were going to fix it or whatever.
Yeah,
so
within 5 days.
Let's apply a little critical thinking here. I know for the people in the back, for the uni crowd that may not understand, critical thinking is when you try to apply a little bit of reason, right? So if Kyle's argument was that he was living at Ben's house, and I don't think he ever explicitly said that Ben's house was shot up, but if he claimed he was living at Ben's and his house was shot, then the implicature would be that it was Ben's house that was shot at. That's a pretty good inference, is it not? Is my critical thinking off there?
So actually, you're a little bit more right than I think you realize, because
Ooh, even
at
better.
that time we weren't in contact with Ben.
Yes.
So there was no other house that could have been he would have been able to be implying at the time.
Unless, yeah, because he implied there was his mom's house that got shot there and he lived there, then that would screw his entire argument up, right? Oh, okay, so I think we're on the same page here. So Ben had said that story never happened. He never got his house shot up. So from start to finish, that entire story had to be a lie. There's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I mean, you can formulate a conclusion that it was a lie because Ben had said his house was never shot at. Again, Kyle never produced any police report, never any shell casing, and he never lived at Ben's. That's been established now that he did not live with Ben. So
there's Steve, I'm sorry. There's a huge mistake in what you've just said. I just need to call it out. You spoke too quickly and you didn't use crayons.
You know what? I gotta get a whiteboard or something, man. I gotta break this down in ways that
I have my tablet right here.
Okay.
Is there an easier language than English? Because English is difficult. Can I?
Next week, guys, we're going to have a fundraiser for some crayons. Details will be on my Twitter.
Can I use finger paints? I don't know if I can handle using crayons. It's too difficult.
I'm gonna need a GoFundMe listed for $4,000 so I can buy art supplies. It's basically just going to be made up of crayons, construction paper, and a shitload of weed.
I'm actually going to have a fundraiser for Kyle so he can get a defense attorney. So when he goes to prison, it's even better. Because
we're gonna fundraiser so we can fly OPT lawyer out there so he can deal with Kyle.
Honestly, I would love if Kyle did another fundraiser.
I'm thrilled. I'm seriously right. I would love that. Let him, please. Unirock, have a fundraiser for Kyle to get him another lawyer. By all means, it worked out so well last time.
To be honest, you know what he could probably do is Kyle could actually probably reach out to Reds, and Reds would probably do it.
And I'm just going to have a tertiary comment on this because I'm not going to dwell on it. But just to show you the difference, Reds.
What about his buddy over at In Time? How come, apparently Nick still got some kind of credibility, supposedly, allegedly? I don't know. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, not to my knowledge.
No.
But okay. Reds has a fundraiser to get a service dog a home. Shows all the receipts, all the funding. Has multiple people involved with kind hearts to find a home for a dog for a fundraiser. Unirock has a fundraiser to have a person commit fraud on the court. That's the distinction between the communities. That's the distinction.
Yeah.
So when people talk about
there was extra,
the difference in communities,
was it $1,500? How much extra was raised after the exposure of the fraud?
It was about 1,000 plus.
Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah.
Knowingly raised.
I love that.
Did we ever see a single one of those receipts?
No, we didn't. And I also want to point out that we actually had a step-by-step video made detailing how Kyle did it and how you could prove this to yourself. And that was done by Astronomy Live. And then after that was brought to the attention of Unirock responded with, "But I want a step-by-step video."
That was the video that we Kyle actually watched my video explaining it in his deposition.
Yeah.
And then he went on and said that Rufus isn't a professional. He doesn't know what he's talking about. He's not a computer expert. And then his own lawyer asked him what Rufus does, and he said I didn't know. So how does he know he's not a professional, you lying piece of shit? How many does the court need me to volunteer my time to count the number of lies in each of those depositions? Will that count as 1 point of perjury each? Because if it does, I'll do it.
I'm not sure, but I'm sorry, Ruf. I'm going to throw you under the bus here, even though I love you to death. Our lawyer could actually said that he could actually call Rufus in another case as an expert witness. That's how well he knows this topic. Sorry to out you like that, man, but he is an expert on some of these topics. He could be legally in a court case giving expert testimony. But yeah.
Puck's over here in the back, by the way. He's super fluffy right now, and he's super grumpy and tired and upset because he had a bath today.
Oh.
I know, right? So go to his Amazon wish list.
By the way, I
Yeah,
am
boss.
ending this. I am ending this in 8 minutes, regardless. I have a very important
Just
phone
be
call to
a
make, and I'm going to make that phone call. So we have
gonna do
8 minutes to go.
Razor, so Puck can eat some crayons.
Eat some Crayon fundraiser.
If you have questions, tag someone in the chat.
Yeah.
Tag one of them in the chat.
And then leave comments afterwards, or like I said, we answer all of them. I really do want to know what happened to all these people that said that Kyle was not served properly. It's just not one of them go, damn, I was wrong. Oh, yeah, Steve was right. Nobody did that. They all just shut the fuck up and went away. There was like the greatest silence. It was like crickets. Absolute crickets.
It's
Join
the
my.
judgment. Sorry, the judgment that that I'm actually saying Judge Gale himself did not write. Basically tried to cover all bases and became ambiguous because it tried to cover all bases. So, we've got the words straight from Judge Gale's mouth. Even if he lived in Charlotte, does that mean service was proper? And Scotty Forbes Lee agreed, yes, it was proper because he got the documents. What I've seen some people say is, he only ruled in our favor because he lived at Pleasant Garden. That's not correct. Like, we've got the judge's actual words.
Even if it wasn't, too bad. Take the L. You lost.
Oh yeah, take the L as well. Yeah.
Join my OnlyFans.
You motherfuckers lost.
Join my OnlyFans to watch me eat lead paint shavings and crayons to see if I can get this stupid.
Yeah.
This is great. We're spending quality time together right now.
I'm just gonna sit.
We haven't done for a while. I haven't done for a while.
I'm gonna do a stream, and I'm just gonna sit here. I'm gonna start munching on crayons.
We should get some edible crayons. That we should do this. Golden Unicorn.
All crayons are edible.
Oh god, yeah. When you're 6, Golden Unicorn Canadian education. You ate glue, too, didn't you? Paste. Is that your lunch?
Listen, I'm gonna dip the crayons in paste.
It's nutritious.
Like carrot.
You know what's funny? It's all they got to do is supplement paste with vitamins, and you have something nutritious. Golden Unicorn, $5. Do we even know that the receipt that Kyle presented for the retainer was real receipt or not? Yeah, I think that was. Yeah, no, I have no doubt that was probably real. Look, he did get a lawyer. That $6,000. I know that $6,000 didn't go where it's supposed to go. You know how I know this? Because Kyle had said he had not paid his lawyer up to date. That's nonsense. First of all, I'm pretty sure it was a fixed retainer, but his lawyer quit on him. So where did that $6,000 go? He obviously didn't give that money to the lawyer.
Where's the receipt, Uni?
Yeah, where's the receipt for that?
You're the
receipts,
one who
man. You got a fundraiser. Where's the receipts?
Push that fundraiser. Where's your receipts, bro? Where's your document?
Receipts.
Where is it? Where are you at?
Mr. Serious says the people who claimed Kyle was served properly probably all stormed the Capitol or are in jail now.
That might be true. Wow, I didn't thought about that. God. They are the same mindset, right?
That's why Menace is still going, because Menace is in Canada.
Yeah.
It is weird how the same. It is a very similar conspiratorial mindset, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Very, very common.
I made a Twitter post directed at Uni when Red said he was going to debate him. Let me see if I can pull it up here, because I ended up recording it because somebody said they wanted to hear me say it, and so I recorded it and made a little 14-second video. But I'll read it live for you if you're ready. Are you ready? So Red said, when Uni backs up his bullshit in a debate, and I just responded with, "Wanna be gangsta punk ass little bitch baby boy candy ass fuckface mom spaghetti on his sweater already looking ass cowbell lacking ass bitch."
Nice. All right, who's gonna call it? Say what you got to say and get the fuck out.
Yeah, fuck everybody who supported Kyle right from the beginning of NonSequitur. So all you hosts that were shitbags, that includes KJ and Casey and GE and Mr. Atheist, all you fucking assholes. And then all of the people who continued and started supporting him when he was a proven and known fraud, and that includes all you. I'm not even list you motherfuckers. And then there's like the whole people that are still going. You're just a fucking joke. The court's like, "Oh yeah, he did it," and you're like, "No, the court." Well, go take it up with the judge then. Leave us alone. Fuck off.
Valid.
Bye.
Bye. All right, Reds, what do you got?
All I'm gonna say is, Kyle, that was the wrong move, buddy.
gone. Kyle's gone to prison and jail. That's hilarious. What else? Guys like Unirock, Menace, Lols Cows, not really worth getting angry over. I'm out. Catch you later.
All right. Thank you, buddy. All right, guys, we're going to wrap this up. Thanks for watching. Again, we just wanted to go over the newest filings because every time there's a filing, we will inform you guys. I said from day one, I'll be highly transparent in everything that comes across. When for the court case, it has been almost 2 years now. I invite everybody to go check out North Carolina Business Court. The case number, I didn't put it in the video description. I guess I should for the people that may want to go check it out. But the case number is 2007 CVS. It should be 2019 CVS 8163. And, you know, I really want people to go look from the very beginning, from the day one of the complaint, which was initiated on 8/23 of 2019. And go and look at everything that has been filed and find any discrepancy on my part whatsoever. Everything that I have said on Twitter, everything I've said on Facebook is in complete compliance with actually what happened in the court record and with the facts and evidence. There's been no exaggeration. There was nothing that we couldn't support from day one. And then go compare it to the other side of what they were saying, the facts that you had dishonest lawyers saying things like, I had admitted Ben lied under oath. That never happened. Dishonest lawyers that had said that I knew that Kyle moved and I improperly had him served, and people running those kinds of narratives. And then go look to see if anything that they had said comported what actually happened in the case and what actually happened in reality. And you'll find a huge, just completely different approaches. I come from the approach that I believe to be honest and transparent and that you correct your mistakes, and they come from the position that they're going to try to run anything and everything up to including lying under oath in order to try to manipulate people. And I really do want people to see the difference there, because I am proud of the fact that I hang around people that are honest, and I am proud of the people that want to have transparency. And I'm proud that they can recognize now, and it took a very long time, but I'm proud that most people recognize that when you have the Unirocks and Kyles of the world and those that they associate with, how easy it is to dissect their arguments, and easy it is to show that they're outright lying. It's not even a matter of just being wrong at that point. It is a matter that they are willfully lying, and I think that is demonstrable. And I'm so glad that people now have the tools and the skill set to do so. So keep watching Caffeine Corner, because that's something that Chest Iron will be doing on Mondays, like we usually do, and we hope to give people the tools to continue. And we're all learning. It's an all learning process. Even the other day, you know, look, I had a discussion with David Smalley. It didn't go very well. Answers and Reason. Joe and David over there wrote a critique on it, and there was some fair criticism in there, and I'm willing to take that on board. Some other things I think I might not fully agree with them with, but I would say the 95% I do agree with them. And there was some fair criticism in there, and I'll take that on board. It was just very difficult because I didn't expect to go into that conversation in that way. I thought it was going to be a very different conversation, and I didn't expect it to be so defensive. But I will update my methods and try to incorporate and be able to adapt more appropriately when the discussion isn't the way I had planned it, right? So I got to learn how to adapt better, and I will take that on board. So I do appreciate them having that blog, and I'll put that in the video description. And I will with that end this, because it is 7 o'clock now, and I have a phone call to make to a very dear friend. So with that, guys, good night.